Hey guys, it's Mary Barfield over at Your One Room Schoolhouse. I'm back with another what we did today in our homeschool or a daily homeschool work video for you. Today is August 4th, 2026. If you are new here, I have a second grader and a fourth grader, and we are currently in our third week of school so far for this 2026 to 2027 school year. So I am going to share with you guys everything we did today. Pretty, plain and simple. So I'm going to start off sharing what we did first thing this morning and then kind of work through the day and the curriculum that we did. So first thing we always start with is morning time. And the first part of morning time is using our monthly planner calendars. If you've never seen these before, I have the large size. I'll link them down below. They also have a smaller size and they come in a 2-pack or a 1-pack. We got the 2-pack, of course, because I've got 2 girls. They are blank calendar layouts, and we are using these specifically for calendar work, but also we are using them with a nature focus. So it's kind of like our own version of a nature study. Every month we have a different theme. As you saw with my past months, we've done different things, weather, we've done the phases of the moon, our tree outside in our front yard, how it changed over the month of April, things like that. I asked the girls and I let them pick this month for August. They decided that they wanted to draw a different animal every day. And what I do is I bring out these resources that I have on my bookshelf. I have my first encyclopedia of animals, which is I think a Kingfisher book, is it? Yes, it's a Kingfisher book. I also have DK Smithsonian Animal exclamation point, which is great with realistic photos in here for the girls to draw from. Let's see. Yep, you got beautiful photos there. I also offer up an anthology of intriguing animals. We've also got realistic photos, beautiful pictures, you guys. But also the great part is they get excited about something and then they'll read the little blurbs. So they're secretly learning a little bit about different animals in the morning by doing this calendar. But also specifically for my youngest daughter, it really does help with calendar skills. So today she drew an elephant, and then my oldest daughter, I think she drew something different. She drew a elephant as well. She did draw an elephant. We don't do these on Sundays and Saturdays, so I let the girls draw whatever they want over here. So she also did a turtle for this upcoming Sunday on the 9th. So that's how we kicked off our morning time. After calendars, I'm sorry for that glare, you guys, we went into our read aloud, which is Kit Saves the Day from the American Girl series. It's book number 5 for Kit. If you have not followed me for a long time, last year we did U.S. history as our history, and we did it through American Girl. Little School of Smith has an amazing curriculum for it, but in the curriculum, you only read the first 3 books for most of the girls. So we are finishing out Kit's series because the girls really liked her story. It's during the Great Depression era. We read chapter 3 today, and then we'll read chapter 4 and finish that up tomorrow. And then we'll move on to her 6th and final book, and we'll continue that as our read aloud. Originally, we were reading Tale of Despereaux, which is what is recommended by Build Your Library Level 1, which we are following for history. And we got about halfway through it. If you saw my post on it, you know that we are no longer continuing with that based on our family's decision that just some of the content wasn't right for my 6 and my newly 9-year-old, and we can bring that back in at a later date. I don't think it's a bad book. It just wasn't the right content for my kids' maturity level. So we're moving on from that one, and we're moving into American Girl, which my girls are loving. After that, we did our poetry reading for the day. This is from Build Your Library. We are doing Book of Nature Poetry. We love this book. It has such beautiful photos. So today we read 4 haiku, and we got to look at this beautiful picture of a praying mantis. After that, we did our art lesson again from Build Your Library Level 1. This is the book that is recommended in the old version of Build Your Library, the one that uses Story of the World as the spine and not History Quest, but we are loving this book. This is the Art Book of Children, Book 1. It is no longer in production, which is why she ended up swapping it out. However, we were able to easily find it and Book 2 through thrift books, so don't knock it because you can totally find it. And both books I got for under $15. But today we learned about living sculptures. And the girls got to practice being living sculptures. They lasted all of 38 seconds doing their living sculpture before they moved. So they thought it was a good time. They loved learning that people can make their bodies into art, and they just thought it was so fun to learn about that. And that finished out our morning time. Next, we did history. And so we did that using Build Your Library Level 1. We are following Story of the World right now. We are learning all about farmers in the Nile and the Nile River, the Nile Delta, how the Nile floods and then it becomes very fertile in the area around it. This is the whole scene of a farming place there. So we didn't read from Story of the World today. We read it yesterday. And then today we dove into the encyclopedia. This is the one that comes with encyclopedia links. So if there's something that really catches your kid's eye, you can then dig in online with more links and more information. The girls are really enjoying this and they are getting a lot out of it and understanding a lot of it. Something we are doing a little different. This is a notebook that I've created for both my girls. This is my oldest daughter's notebook. I do her binding at the top because she's a lefty. This is a combination of activity pages because I get asked about this a lot. It's a combination of activity pages from Build Your Library, all the map work from Story of the World's activity guide, as well as all the coloring pages from Story of the World. And I just combine them all in one little booklet, and then I created the cover on Canva. But you'll see here, like I have the timeline figures that are from Build Your Library, and we've been cutting them out and putting in our timeline notebook. But then back here, you'll see, here's the coloring page that we're gonna be doing tomorrow, Osiris and Set. But today, and that's from Story of the World activity guide. But today we did our map work from Story of the World. I've been asked why I'm doing the Story of the World map work and not the Build Your Library. In full honesty, I just think it's better. I think it's better, but also she offers map work for every chapter, whereas Build Your Library only offers, I think, about 9 or 10 different maps for the entire school year. So I wanted to do consistent map work, so I'm really glad I have the activity guide from Story of the World. And so today was learning all about Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt and the white crown, which you can kind of see here, and the red crown king and how they defeated each other. And then King Narmer ended up being the one who united both Egypts together to make one big country. So then obviously deciding where's the Nile, finding the Nile Delta, we learned that it's called a delta because it's an upside down V, which is what the Greek symbol is for D, delta. So we learned all that, and that was a lot of fun. And the girls are really picking it up and remembering it. So that's the most important part. After history, we went ahead and moved into science. So we are on Wonder 3 from Blossom and Roots, Level 2, Wonders of the Plant and Fungi Kingdom. Today, we started learning about ancient plants, which was very fun. And it actually ties in well because we did a prehistory unit from Build Your Library, not last year, but like the spring of last year, 2025. So the girls remembered some of this stuff like evolution and how plants evolve. So that was really nice kind of bringing that back around. Today, we just went over the main ideas about vascular versus non-vascular plants. Vascular plants are plants that have veins and roots and things to carry the water and nutrients, whereas non-vascular, like mosses and things, don't have that structure. And so they literally have to sit in water to absorb it. It's very interesting. I'm getting a lot out of this, you guys. So we learned about how the first plants were algae organisms in the water, and that still to this day we get 50 to 75% of our oxygen is created from phytoplankton and algae in water. So I thought that was really interesting. But so we went over the main talking points, and then we jumped into some books. So this one we got from the library. I love Molly Bang. Her books are fantastic. We read one of her other books, Living Sunlight, last week for Wonder number 2, and it was amazing. They're just, y'all, I kind of want to buy these. I just think they're so descriptive, but in a way a child can understand phytoplankton and photosynthesis and how the sun is the beginning of all energy. And the illustrations are top notch. So we read that. We got on our bean bags over in the corner and read that together. Then we got into our spine, which we chose for this level. We chose The Secret World of Plants. Blossom and Root offers you a bunch of different spines, and they all have their strengths. Some are better for older learners, younger learners. Some are more visual, some are more descriptive. So just based on your learners, you can kind of pick which one's best. This one is really good for our family. It's working really well. Again, I have a 6 going to be turning 7-year-old in a few weeks, and then I have a brand new 9-year-old, and this is working fabulously for us. So again, today we just went over what is phytoplankton, sphagnum moss, I cannot say that, y'all, and ancient plants. And so that's what we learned about. And then after that, we watched a few videos on the same topic, but that kind of went a little deeper and drove it home based on what was recommended in Blossom and Root. And that's all we did for today. We'll finish out this lesson tomorrow with a hands-on activity as well as our notebooking. So we completed morning time, we completed our history, we completed our science. After our group subjects, then we move into individual subjects. So today for my fourth grader, we did some language arts with Hearth and Story level 3. And we did, here, I'll show you. We did The Lost Library, chapter 35. We are at the end, and my daughter was kind of sad about that today. She's like, it's almost over. I was like, I know, babe, but it's good. We've got another one coming behind it. And she goes, but it was such a good book. I don't want it to end. So I think if anything that says, like, it gives you a good review on what this program's all about, but Lost Library specifically has been fantastic. So we read chapter 35 and we did the corresponding page for that, which was all about Mortimer's plan. It's kind of giving you a little bit of what's going to happen, but not all of it. So it's like, let's write down all the clues. We don't have the full plan yet, but we will find out about it in the next chapter, right? So, and as you can see, what a twist. So there's going to be a plot twist. I'm excited. It's a good book, you guys. It's really good. We're really enjoying it. Then we also started a new list for spelling. We started list 5 and we did day 1 with that. So what that looks like is when you start a new list, I literally cold turkey, don't even give her the list. I say, okay, I'm going to read you these words. And so I give them in sentence context though, because we had homophones here, new and new. So I'll say new. I knew you were going to do really well on your spelling test. New. And then I'll say new. I got a new pair of shoes. So she knows which one's which. And then after she writes down, she'll circle C for confident, I for iffy, or W for a wild guess. And so it's kind of nice for her to go in cold and see what she knows, what she doesn't. And then based on this, whatever she doesn't get right are the words that we really focus on. Now, if she even gets something right that was iffy, I will still have her practice that word. Like vacation, I'm going to have her practice because she was iffy on it. So I don't want it to be just a fluke that she got it right and we don't practice it. So that's what we did for spelling. And then we also did a lesson of writing. Lesson 11 was all about setting the stage, how to write a firework sentence, catch the reader so that when they come into your paragraphs, they're like, why am I going to read this? And then also discussing topic sentence. So this is her prompt. And then she's starting to fill out this paragraph planner, and then she's going to ultimately write a paragraph after these couple of lessons are over. So tomorrow we'll do details. We'll fill in the detail, and then the next day we'll fill in closing sentence and write the entire paragraph in the next lesson. So we're finally getting into paragraphs and it's getting exciting. So we'll see how that goes. One other thing we did for language arts is she did a few pages in word ladders. She is starting to really pick up steam on this and she's really enjoying it, and it's making her think outside the box. So it's not just spelling, it's not just reading and phonetics and things like that, but it's also logic, right? She's having to change one letter to strike something from bit, to strike something, change one letter, hit. It's making her use all of her little brain muscles. So we're really enjoying that. So that's what we did for language arts. After that, we did our math lesson with 4th grade Math with Confidence. Today we were learning about factor pairs. Here it is. So this was our first intro to factor pairs. Like she understands like multiplication facts, but putting together the fact that 1, 20, 2, 10, 4, and 5 are all factors of 20. We played a little game. She picked up on this really quick, you guys. She got everything right on her practice page, and she got oh, you know what? I didn't check this. So I don't know if she has yet, but hopefully she does. But so then she did her review sheet on her own. So I got to leave that open. I got to check that after this video. So hopefully she did. But otherwise, she really picked up on the lesson today very well. So I was very pleased with that. Last but not least, for my oldest daughter, we did our loop schedule, which I will talk about in another video at another time and explain what this is. But today she was responsible for doing daily reading. So she reads every day, which she will at quiet time after lunch today, which hasn't happened yet. But she was also responsible for doing a page in her journal, which she did. I'm not going to share that just because of privacy reasons. And the other thing that she was meant to do today was her cursive copy work, which we used this printout from Land of Kakiak's Etsy website. I'll link that down below for you guys. But all she's done is taken McGuffey's revised edition first reader copy work, and she's put it into Danielian copy work, cursive. So you are able to write in this as a workbook, but my daughter loves using her copywork and narration notebook that we created for her for this year. She helped me design this. She wanted an underwater theme. This is in my Etsy shop if you would like to go check that out, with a bunch of other different covers possible that you can pick from. But so today she did this lesson, and she copied it down here, continuing just to practice her cursive. She only has to do this about 2 times a week, so she's not a fan of cursive, but I want her to keep it up if she can, right? It doesn't have to be absolutely gorgeous, but I just want it to be legible. And then she chose to draw a little cat, for Kitty. So that's everything she did for her loop schedule. Sorry, guys, I forgot to mention she also did typing practice on typing.com. She is loving it. She literally begs to do it on Sundays, Saturdays. She loves typing, you guys. She is so into it. And she is doing it very well, I might add. So that was the last of her loop schedule. Last but not least, my youngest daughter's individual subjects. So we did a lesson from Blossom and Root Level 2 Language Arts, Fantastic Journeys and Perilous Quests. We are loving this program for my youngest daughter. We are currently in week 6. Yes, we're in week 6 with this program because we started in the summer to try it out since it was new, and obviously it's going really well. So this week we started Trickster Tales, and we read a book on YouTube. We did a read aloud because I couldn't get it from my library in time. There was a wait on it, but it was about Anansi the spider. Thankfully, YouTube came in clutch, and it had a read aloud that she could watch, so we watched that yesterday. Today we did her narration from it. So this was Anansi and the Melon, I think is what it was called. And so she was just talking about her favorite part, which was hilarious to her. I liked when the king said, "Talk, Melon, talk. I just want to hear you talk. Talk, Melon," because there was a spider in the melon and he thought it was the melon talking. You get the whole idea. So that was the king shaking the melon, "Talk, Melon." The other thing we did, we also did her word list today. So today was just a recap of weeks 1 through 5 words and the concepts that are being taught with those like phonetics, like soft G, things like that. And she read yesterday the entire list. There was just a few that I marked, as you can see, that she either stuttered with or just didn't have locked down completely. Like right here, she went feel, peel, fleet, toad, like she was booking it through. Bait, she said bat first, and then she goes, "Wait, no, bait." And so I was like, okay, she was able to correct herself, but I still started so that today we could just review those words, and she just reviewed them. Jim, she's having trouble with, so I'm going to have her repeat that tomorrow, and I'm going to have her build that word with some of our letters and our whiteboard and stuff like that, if she still has trouble with it tomorrow when she reads it. But otherwise, she knew all the words, and they were super easy for her, even these compound words down here. And then that's it for the student workbook. The only other thing we did in language arts is she includes a geography component. And so per the geography component, then it's optional. You don't have to do it. But we chose to grab the globe, and we went over the 7 continents. We discussed where Anansi's Trickster Tales comes from, Africa. We read some of the countries there. Also in the Middle East, we kind of reviewed some of those countries. And we kind of just delve in a little bit to that per the recommendation of this program. And that was it for Blossom and Root. The only other major thing we did for language arts is we did one lesson in Evan Moore's Daily 6 Trait Writing. We are still on grade 1 because I brought this in literally 2 months before maybe a month. It was really short. It was right before we were about to stop first grade. Like we were about to finish out first grade. So I brought this in at the tail end. So I'm not worried about it. There's 25 weeks of lessons in here, and some days we do 2 or 3 lessons. Some day we do 1. We're going to move through it at the pace that makes sense, but she's loving it. And then when this is done, we'll move into grade 2 of this. But today she was focusing on using word choice. So using the right words to tell about how we feel. So instead of saying good, Yasmin feels glad, elaborate, create a more depictive word. And then her convention for today was, or this week, is focusing on exclamation points that show strong feeling in sentences. And then last but not least, one last thing I do is always have her read a chapter from a book that she's working on out loud. She reads a lot on her own, but because she's still young, I like her to do this for fluency sake. And so sorry for the glare, you guys. She's working through the Maria series from The Good and the Beautiful. I think this is her 3rd or 4th book. I think this might be the last one. She might have one more book beyond this to read in the series, but today we're reading Maria's Many Cousins. And so she read a chapter 4 out loud to me, so I can just hear her enunciating and make sure she's reading her words correctly. And that was done very well. Last but not least for her, we have math. So she is working her way through 2nd grade math with confidence. She is currently on lesson 15.1. We did that today, which is all about double-digit mental math. Passed it with flying colors. Honestly, we barely did the lesson. She knew how to do it. Because I didn't even go through the lesson. I just pulled it up here. I was like, hey, what is this? And she was like, well, that's 56. I was like, okay, how'd you get to it? And she said, well, 3 10s, 2 10s equals 5 10s. And then I add the ones together, which is 6. So 56. And I was like, you got it. And so I just let her go through it. This is easy to her. I don't think it's too easy because she's enjoying it, but we're moving through it a little quicker, right? So she's like almost halfway through 2nd grade and we've just started 1st grade. So we're just moving at her pace. If we need to slow down somewhere, we will. If we need to speed up, we will. As you can see, I don't make her do equations as long as she gets the answer right. And if she doesn't, if she can explain to me what she did and we can find the error, I still don't harp on writing the equations. I know in regular school we would totally have her do the equations, but I know her abilities and she got all this right too. So she's doing really well with math. Last but not least, sorry, that was last for her in non-independent work. We have some independent work. So again, Charlotte's loop schedule, she had to do 3 things here today. She had to draw, handwriting, and journal. So here is her journal. I'm, again, for privacy's sake, not going to go into there. So she did 1 page in her journal, but we actually do this together a lot of times because she gets exhausted and doesn't want to write so much. So sometimes this is independent, sometimes it isn't. She also had to do 1 page in her handwriting book, which is Handwriting Without Tears, my printing book, which this is a 1st grade book technically, but we started this just a few months before the end of 1st grade. So again, we're a little bit behind in this. We'll just move into the printing power, which is the 2nd grade one as soon as she's done here. But today she was writing dog, 2nd, turtle, 3rd, just working on trying to stay in those lines and no floating lines, no words going below. But she's, y'all, I have to actually order my printing power because she's basically almost done with this. So, yep, we're at the finish line, you guys, with handwriting. We can move on to my printing power. And last but not least, she did a lesson out of, this is from The Good and the Beautiful. It's level 1, draw vintage images. And so I got her and her sister these craft books from Mr. Penn. I love these. These are fantastic. And so today she did mug and saucer. And she even wrote what it was. I thought that was super cute. So she's been really enjoying this drawing program. My girls love to draw. They're all about it. And her little bushel of apples, I thought that was really good. But that's everything we did today, guys. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, leave it down in the comments below. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.